Well, this is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't see coming, and maybe a few people did, but for the most part, this is actually unexpected news. But Mortal Kombat Onslaught, basically an action adventure beat 'em up RPG that was released for Android and iOS back in 2023. It's shutting down, and like, I don't know, like, it's shutting down because I guess the game is not as popular as NetherRealm Studios or Warner Brothers Game thought it would be, along with the fact that a couple of days ago, it was announced that numerous layoffs were going to be made for NetherRealm Studios. And NetherRealm Studios is not the only one that's been hit by layoffs. There have been various gaming companies that's been affected by a bad economy, resulting in them making layoffs, like Ubisoft, Niantic, Amazon Games, Sumo Group. Um, I think Activision cut a bunch of people too because Modern Warfare 3 was such a dud. Yeah, it's like the last couple of years has been very turbulent, to say the very least, for video game developers. And Mortal Kombat Onslaught, it's a game that looks pretty decent for a free to play mobile game, but it hasn't been getting the type of mainstream attention that Mortal Kombat 1's been getting. And Mortal Kombat 1 didn't have nearly as much success as a lot of people thought it would. Now, for the most part, people still talk about it a lot, but for the most part, the stuff I hear about Mortal Kombat 1's negative. If it's not about, I guess, NetherRealm Studios adding more DLC content, because it's at a point now where people think MK1 is so mid to a point where they're adding like iconic, like, movie characters, to the game to try and get more eyes and more attention to MK1. And because of that, I mean, a lot of people have already went on record and said that MK1 is already a worse game than MK11. MK11, on the other hand, broke a sales record when it came out, and it's probably the best-selling MK game in the entire franchise. I believe MK1 did in relation to sales like 15 million copies in sales, and that was within like I think that was like within like a few years, like within like 3 years, because the game came out back in 2019, and I believe it was reported back in 2022 to like 15 mil in terms of sales across multiple platforms. And I'm not exactly sure what this means for the Mortal Kombat series, because you look at these numbers, like for MK1, it did like 3 mil, and that was reported months ago. I think that was reported like a few months after its release, and I haven't really heard any updates about its overall sales. I mean, it's the same thing that happened with Square Enix after they released Final Fantasy 16 during the summer of last year. That game did roughly around 3 mil, and then you heard nothing else about it, and it just quickly became irrelevant because people lost interest in it. And if that's the case for like Mortal Kombat, the same thing is happening where people are losing interest in the series. That's a problem for NetherRealm Studios because that's their most profitable franchise, and it makes us wonder whether or not we're going to get a sequel to this game anytime soon. Now, I know Mortal Kombat 1 just came out last year, but I don't know if they're going to make a sequel. Basically, they would have to go back and basically add things to it that made the other MK games interesting. Like, one of the biggest things about Mortal Kombat 10 and 11 that people liked were the back and forth dialogue between certain characters, because there was a lot of like adult, humor and all that stuff, and innuendos, and that pretty much made like MK 1011 fun and added to the overall gaming experience. You look at something like MK Onslaught. Obviously, it's a game that's supposed to be. I don't even know if this is supposed to be for kids or adults or teenagers, because this looks like something that a teenager would play, even though it's more lenient towards being M rated. And the thing is, like, adults in their 20s and their 30s for the most part, even though it's free to play, I don't think too many of them are going to have time to really play this. I could see like this pretty much like MK Onslaught catering to a niche audience, maybe teenagers or maybe like teens who just became adults in their early 20s. But for the most part, older adults, I don't see them necessarily playing this on a day to day basis. I don't see, kids playing MK Onslaught on a day to day basis because it's very violent and their parents probably wouldn't let them play it or what have you. So that could have been one of the issues with MK Onslaught, the fact that it caters to a niche audience. And for the most part, it's not really a kid friendly game. And even though it's more lenient towards being an adult, game because it's Mortal Kombat, there's a lot of adults who have more options and they're more interested in different genres of video game that involve like shooters and all that other stuff and action adventure and all that stuff. So I think for the most part, there's just too many games out there that people like prefer more. And I feel like that's something that took a lot of attention away from Mortal Kombat Onslaught. In fact, within the past year, I don't think I've really heard like hardly any big announcements or anyone really talk about MK Onslaught. I don't think this game even trended on Twitter or social media or nothing like that. So honestly, MK Onslaught is a game that I'm pretty sure a lot of people have forgotten about by now. And I'm pretty sure there's a handful of people who still play it, but for the most part, MK Onslaught being shut down is obviously a result of like NetherRealm Studios being hit with layoffs, along with the fact that a lot of people have lost interest in the game, and then you have a lot of casuals that don't even know that this game exists. And honestly, it's pretty cool that NetherRealm Studios decided to try something new in terms of creating a Mortal Kombat mobile game, but I don't know. I just feel like, Mortal Kombat as a head-to-head 2D fighting game is something that it just feels right. Having Mortal Kombat in any other genre like RPG, it feels a bit odd. Even though it was cool, it was something that I don't know. It was something that probably didn't click or register with a lot of people for the most part. And it's a damn shame that this game is being shut down. But the good news about it is it's not being shut down immediately because players will be able to enjoy the game up until October 21st. Because I believe the that's when the game is supposed to be like shutting down on the App Store. It's going to be removed from the App Store. People won't be able to download it, play it, or anything like that. So, for those who have not played Mortal Kombat Onslaught, you have a couple of months to enjoy it before it's completely gone for good.